Thank you for joining today's webinar, guys. My name is Sohail Adnan, and I have over 12 years of IT experience. I started my career working as a Windows administrator and gradually moved into VMware, then Linux, AWS, DevOps, currently working on blockchain and AI. I started my career as one of you have started from basics, where I used to look at the monitoring screen and then go back and report the issue to L1, 2, and 3. So that is how I began my journey. It's a 12 years journey that I have crossed now. I am in a very good position. I work in the world's largest MNC today, right? Quite a few accomplishments that I have done. But when we interact live in the training, you'll get to know me more. But thank you for joining today's webinar. And I welcome you all to valaxy's exclusive session on AWS demo and a training offering. I will take all your questions by the end of the session, right? So please park your questions and I'll come back to you on that. Right. So before we start any training program, right, we would like to understand what certification tracks that we're focusing at, how will this benefit me, right? How should you see your career differently once you have this program with you? Can this program complement your existing career that you are into right now? What domain that you have, is it relevant to AWS? We will all discuss that in a subsequent slide. So moving to the next slide here. Right. So let's first understand certification roadmap so that it clears the perspective and you will understand what certification track that you need to focus. Now, there are 3 tracks that are available. The first one is foundational track. If you could see here, you have a foundational track, and there are 4 papers that are available in the foundation track. The first paper is cloud practitioner. Second is for architect. Third is for developer, and fourth is for operation. The certification tracks are grayed out. If you see there, foundational is optional and it is not mandatory for you to do the certification at all, right? Then why is it available here? To whom the certificates are targeted? Candidates having 16, 18, 20, 22 years of industry IT experience who are already in the leadership position, right? Who doesn't want to get hands-on experience, but mostly focus on technical domain, who is setting up a cloud practice or going through digital transformation or want to do migration to cloud, right? They would like to understand cloud at 80,000 feet high, able to visualize how the system would operate, and this training is for them. And I'm assuming that most of the target audience that we have in this lecture today are having less than 15, 14 years of experience that we're looking at, right? So let's focus, what do we have for you today? Now, there are 3 tracks that are available under associate, and if you see here, you can directly jump to associate, skipping foundation. So there are 3 certification tracks that are available. AWS certified solution architect associate. There is one for developer, and the last one is for sysops administration, right? So all these 3 are associate paper. So let's understand one certificate at a time, to whom this certificate is targeted at, and what is the minimum criteria, and do you qualify or not, right? So candidate having looking at 8+ years of IT experience, you come from an IT background, though you do not have cloud experience, but you're working in storage, server, virtualization, networking, right? Any of the IT related domain, Linux, Windows, right? Software defined networking, database, BI tools, right? Whatever the function that you're looking at. So if you have 8+ years of IT experience already, and you're already an L3 and pursuing your career to become an architect, so AWS certified solution architect associate is for them, right? Now let's move to the second track here. So we have AWS certified developer associate, the one that you see here, right? So if you are a developer and all your life for last 3-4 years you're writing code, you're developing code, you do your living with, this is different than DevOps. Trust me, this is different than DevOps. This is, I'm talking from a core development perspective. If you're a Java developer, Python, .NET, or any other development technologies that you are pursuing your career into, right? AWS developer associate is for you, right? You can bring your development experience. There are a lot of capabilities that AWS has. Serverless capabilities such as Lambda, you have containerization to deploy your microservices, Kubernetes, another section, right? Puppet and Chef automation, right? API gateway, half a dozen different services that exist today where you can programmatically design and implement your solution. So AWS developer track is for them. Candidates having 0 to 2 and 2 to 4 years of development experience will focus on development track. So lastly, we have SysOps administration here. If you could see here, SysOps administrator associate. Candidates having 0 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6 years, right? I'm talking about L0, L1, and L2. If you have not gone to L3, you do not handle anything right now from a project perspective, working on RCA, right? Troubleshooting complex issues, right? Out of SLA issues. If you're still not doing that, and if you're L0, L1, and L2, perhaps you should be focusing at SysOps Administrator Certificate, and this is for you, right? 0 to 2, 2 to 4, and 4 to 6 years. If you have this much experience, you should focus on SysOps administration. Now, how much does this paper cost? Any paper that you write under associate track, whether it's an architect associate paper that we're looking at, developer associate, or SysOps administration associate, any associate paper that you write, it's a $150 examination fee, and this is something that you need to pay to AWS. Right, and you're allowed to write exam once, and if you flunk, you're required to pay $150 again and write another exam. You will not get a second attempt free here, right? And this paper is valid for 2 years, right? So assuming that you write this today, right? I'm recording this video on 1st October, recording this video on 1st October 2018, right? So if you're doing it today, so probably 31st or 30th September 2020 it is valid. So 2 years from whatever time that you write. And what will happen after 2 years? Your certificate will expire and you're required to rewrite your examination again, maybe in the associate category that we are looking at. But as an AWS professional, after this training, you will take up the AWS full-time role, right? So from that perspective, you should focus on professional. So the track that you see here under orange is the professional track. This is the professional track. And if you have done SysOps administration here, SysOps administration over here, then you can do DevOps engineer. So within this 2 years of period that you have before your certificate expires, you can do DevOps engineer professional. So likewise, if you have done developer before 2 years, make sure you do DevOps engineer professional. And if you see this DevOps engineer professional and this DevOps engineer professional is the exact same paper, right? So basically what Amazon is trying to articulate is whether you do SysOps administration or a developer training, right? The next track is DevOps for both of you, right? So if you have done solution architect associate, then you have architect professional, right? Again, you cannot do crisscross, means if you have done architect associate, then you cannot do a DevOps professional. So likewise, if you have done SysOps administration, then you cannot do architect professional here. Getting my point? So you cannot do crisscross. If you have done SysOps, then you can do DevOps. If you have done developer, then you can do DevOps. If you have done architect associate, then you can do architect professional, because the arrows are pointing upwards. If you see the arrows, they are all pointing upwards. So whatever the next certificate that you see that arrow is pointing to, only that certificate you can do. And even professional track is also valid for 2 years, right? From the time you write. And the professional certificate that we're looking at here, the examination fee is $300. Right, $300 is what you have. Again, single sitting, you can directly pay to AWS. I will help you out to register this examination in scheduler center. They have center all over the world. So wherever that you join this training from, you can attempt your examination there. Right. So architect professional, 2 years validity that you have. Even for DevOps professional, 2 years you have a validity. And after 4 years, what? You may have to reappear for the examination to renew your certificate. Only your 10th, 12th, and then your graduation marks cards are valid for life. But what you have done in your college, you're not doing that at work. So these are all professional certificates, and these are only valid for 2 years, right? And before they expire, you renew this certificate, right? The couple of other papers that we have on the right hand side, right? Advanced networking security specialty, excuse me, big data specialty, security specialties. These are the additional tracks that we're looking at. Amazon has announced this, but they're not available to register and appear for the examination. Hopefully, as and when they're live, I will update this video. Right. So post training. So what is it that we do post training? Right. So once you understood what certification tracks that you're focusing at, right, you also would like to understand what is there for you post training. Excuse me, let me go back here. Right, post trainings. But before going post training, let's understand what certifications are we focusing at. Right, mostly people reach out to us and say, hey, a lot of people are offering us training, right? Great, but what is it that we do differently? Right, so if you could see in the market today, there's a trend in the market that they're looking for a resources who are skilled on multiple domains, right? Someone who knows Linux, someone who knows DevOps, someone who knows automation, someone who knows cloud, right? This four combination creates a portfolio of knowledge where every company is looking for. Instead of hiring different resources, one resource can deliver one end to another. Are you with me so far? Right, so with that said, what we're trying to solve the problem is we have clubbed these papers together and we have created a single syllabus out of it. If you do this training separately, you will have lot of content that are redundant. We have trimmed those contents that are redundant and we have compiled the syllabus together. So in this training, we will be covering sysops administration and DevOps engineer, because though you have 8, 10, 12, 15 years of experience, industry experience, for cloud, you're a newbie, you are a fresher for cloud. Hence, it is very important that we start our journey from 101. From ground up, we will start our cloud journey and we will climb up the ladder. So we'll start from sysops administration, and then DevOps is included as one paper, and then architect associate and architect professional is also as a one paper. So out of this 5 papers that we have, right, this DevOps engineer and this DevOps engineer is the same paper. The only thing that we will not be covering in this training is AWS developer track. So except this developer paper that you're looking here, except this developer paper, we will be covering architect associate, architect professional, DevOps and SysOps. These are the 4 papers that we have combined together. This training is divided into 40% of theory and 60% of practical. So this is a job-oriented training. We will do a lot of live projects here. We'll work on real-world scenarios. We'll do real implementation on AWS platform, right? So this is a hands-on training and practical training, because if we could train you in that way, wherever that you go, you can perform solo. You can deliver your work solo, right? So keeping that in mind, we ensure that this is a job oriented training, hands-on training. So 60% practical that we do, but theory is also important. I know that a lot of people come back to me and say, can you trim down theory and can you add more practical to it? But you also need to understand the context on what exactly you're building it. Where does this fit? How do you retrofit it, or how do you do greenfield deployment? Right, this will also help you out to crack your interview. This will also help you out to crack your examination. So theory is a very vital part apart from practical. So 60% practical, 40% theory that we do to ensure that you success. Right, so post training, right? So what is it, the post training that we do? We want all our candidates to succeed, all our students required to succeed. Unlike like other training center who trains and wash their hand, we extend our hand after training also. What is it that we're doing differently? Let's break it down. First thing is preparing your resume. Though you come from a different technology or a domain, right, you come from a different technology or a domain, right? Sorry, I muted off. So Post training, first thing is we help you to prepare your resume. This is very important. Though you come from a different technology, different domain, different background, right? You need to fit your AWS experience, the learning that you underwent in the training, right? So that you can apply for a AWS job, you can apply for that higher CTC that you're looking at, and you can meet your goal and ambition, right? So every resume is unique. This training, and after this training, we don't simply give you a resume and say, okay, copy this, right? We sit with each and every candidate, we draft the resume, because every story is unique and every resume is also, right? I'll give you an example. How many times it has happened that you have given the resume to your friend and your friend has applied the resume, right? And you follow up with them and say, hey, I have sent you my resume, right? I sent you my resume. Right? I'm sorry, I'm muted again. I am so sorry about that. I'm trying to do this in one take, right? So preparing your resume, right? And you're able to forward this resume to your friend. Your friend says, I have forwarded it, but you do not get a call from HR, right? And then you take the same resume, you put it on Naukri.com or Monster, and nobody calls you back. These are the very common problems that you undergo through, right? So the reason what happens is, if you have copied this resume from somebody else, and if you submit that resume on Naukri or Monster.com, most likely your resume is marked spam, because the content that you have in your resume is not fresh, neither it is unique. And like you, 50 different people may have copied it, and you have also copied it from somewhere else, right? So the content that you have is a duplicate content which is lifted from somewhere else, and therefore your resume is marked spam, so it does not filter on page 1, 2, and 3 in your Naukri Monster. Likewise, the same thing happens if you do not capture the right keywords, right? I have seen a lot of resumes, implemented, installation, operation, very common terminology that they use. They have to very specifically write your project. You have to specifically mention what tools and technology that you have used. You have to keep your resume crisp, short, right? So this is the workshop that we do to make sure that you have a successful resume. Once you have your successful resume, we will only prepare you for the interview. Cracking an interview is an art, right? If I ask you what you're doing today, you can talk to me for 10, 15 minutes, and you can tell me what domain that you come from, what technology that you come from, which background you're coming from, right? You can articulate and discuss easily throughout the process, right? But when you learn new technology, or when you learn something new, right, you might not have words, you might not speak, or you might not articulate clearly in the interview, right? And you might stuck somewhere. And the art of cracking an interview is positioning an interviewer in such a way that you tell him what you know, and therefore he can probe you and ask how depth knowledge that you have. And out of 10 questions he asks, you should be in a situation to answer 5. But if you don't open your mouth, the interviewer will shoot a question for which you will not have answer to. So interview readiness will prepare you for the interview, right? And then we give on-job assistance. So once you're placed, once you're working, there might be a scenario where you will be the first one from an AWS domain within your organization, or right, you'll be the only one in the project, or you will be the first one. So in an event, what happens if you're working on a situation and you're not able to pull the show off? Typically what happens, you go to google.com, you query your search, you try to look for an answer there, right? Great. But apart from that, what we do as part of valaxy is we have a system where we offer free lifetime on-job support. So any AWS domain related challenges or questions that you have, right, you can post the questions to us. We will do a lot of answering. We will tell you, we will explain you, we will answer your questions. We will help you and we will rescue you. This service is free for lifetime. You don't have to pay anything. What if your trainer is busy or traveling and is not available, right? We have trained over 400 students right now, and 400 students are receiving on-job support, right? You can be a part of the same community, and your seniors who have underwent training under me, they will jump in and rescue you. On-job assistance, right? Access to job portal, right? So what is access to job portal? We will only find and give you jobs, right? We have seen situations where even after preparing resume, preparing the candidate for the interview, right, they are unable to find jobs. I could not find a job, could not find a job, right? Not everyone are like that, but a couple of students are like that, where they are unable to know how to apply for a job or how to find a job. So what we have done is we have created an AI here, and we have created an app that you need to install on your phone. So on a daily basis, we will find and give you jobs. You don't have to go and look for it. We will do all the research part of it. We'll go to Amazon, we'll go to Microsoft, Google, other websites, Naukri, Monster, LinkedIn, half a dozen different sites that we have. We will only find a job, we'll bring the jobs and give it to you, right? All you have to do is apply. Jobs will come to you. You don't have to go to jobs, or you don't have to go hunting for a job. Jobs will come to you. So access to job channel will give you, where we'll keep posting a lot of jobs in the channel. You just need to apply. And all our lectures are downloadable, right? So we are not unlike like other organizations where it is only allowing you to stream after a certain point in time the access is taken. We don't do that. We understand that refresher is always important. So all our lectures get recorded, and we give you a copy of those lectures. You can download it, you can share it with your friends. We don't have any obligation, right? It is up to you, right? And you can keep it in your pen drive, hard drive, etc., right? And lastly, this training comes with unlimited revision. I understand that once you attend the training, you might not understand. I had that problem. I underwent a training, trainer was great, but I could not understand, right? It took me a couple of attempts and revisiting trainings couple of times to ensure that I come to speed, right? I'm a slow learner, and I'm confident that not everyone is slow learner, but some of you are. Since you're a slow learner, we give access to unlimited revision. So in an event where you have missed the class or missed the syllabus, or you have not attended the training, or in fact you have attended the whole training, and even after that you want to attend a subsequent batch, you're with me so far? So from that perspective, we give you unlimited revision so that you can attend subsequent batches, right? Until you're satisfied and you know that you've attended enough classes to learn, right? And even if you come back after 2, 3, 4 months and say, hey, can you facilitate a revision for me? We will do an unlimited revision for you also, right? So this comes with unlimited revision, right? Now, after this, let's understand our practices, right? What is the practice that we follow to teach you? So we follow well architect framework. This is a method that AWS asks us to follow during the training and at work. And if you see there, it says learn, measure, and build using architectural best practices, right? So what is this architectural best practices that we need to put in here? Let's break it down quickly. So Amazon says that we need to follow operational excellence model here. We are all part of some operation, right? We are L1, L2, L3. We get tickets, we take incidents, we troubleshoot, and we resolve, right? So when we say operation excellence, you're excelling at work, you're excelling at your operations, you're excelling at day-to-day duties that you're doing, right? That is operational excellence, smartly working in your operations, right? So Amazon has pre-built a lot of automations already, right? So we will teach you all the shortcuts and automations that are pre-built for you there, and how to use them and how to take advantage out of. So this will ensure that you will have less problems and you can focus your energy elsewhere, right? And you can do better job in terms of resolving problems or implementing, updating, or anything. You can be far more efficient. Instead of having far too many people, you can have far fewer people and you can pull this off, right? So we follow this metrics of operational excellence where we'll teach you all the nooks and hooks that are baked into AWS in the name of automation. So like for security is a very important aspect. Best practices, you could call it as. Why this is important, it'll ask you in the interview, they'll ask you in the examination also, right? What are the security best practices that you follow, right? How do you secure a network? How do you secure a database? How do you secure a web server? One t-shirt cannot fit all. So we'll teach you multiple security best practices, and everything will be done in practical. So we'll practically secure our environments, right? So that is security. Third is reliability. We all go to office, we all get tickets, we all work in shifts, night shifts, morning shifts, and we end up solving ticketing problems, right? So we need to understand, why are we sitting there and why are we getting tickets? Because the architect who designed your company's infrastructure took the shortcut, so it runs less, breaks more, and because it breaks more, they have hired you to fix it, right? So it is not a reliable product. So we will teach you how to take the complex approach. How do you design an infrastructure that is highly available, always available, right? Load balancer is incorporated into that so that the load can be distributed, right? And then we can create auto scaling there. So if it has to go up and down, it can go up and down at its will. Self-healing, if it fails, it can auto remediate and repair and come back itself, right? So these are the mechanisms that we will teach you. Again, the whole thing is in practical. We will design, build, and implement this here. Are you with me? To make sure that you guys take the most complex approach so that your infrastructure is agile and nimble both at the same time, run longer and break less. So that the team, the support team that we have can focus on something else, maybe studying, process improvement, or anything. Right. So these are the well architected frameworks that we follow to make sure that we follow the structural approach to teach you here so that you can not only excel at work and at studies and everywhere else. Right. So how do you get started? It is pretty simple, right? You can go to this website, aws.amazon.com/free. You can register a free account. This is valid for 1 year. Use your email address and register this account, right? And then I will see you in the class, right? Thank you very much for joining, guys. You have a great day. And don't forget to like and subscribe this channel. Thank you.